Hello and welcome to Kelly Loeffler, walking through a crowd. I'm Kelly Loeffler. Anyway, how's it going? So today's election day here on the Damage Report. That's exciting, big stuff happening. You know what else is big stuff? Our guest for the day, Jason Carter, joins us once again. How's it going, Jason?
Hey, John, Happy New Year. Glad to be back.
Happy New Year.
I'm doing okay. And I can't come on the Damage Report without having the fuel du jour, my monster. Oh, good boy, good boy. Who's a good boy? John's a good boy.
Who's gonna have a heart explode? Me.
Jason and John, Bougie Dragon. And wait, what's your dragon name, John?
I mean, some people call me Dragon Daddy.
Dragon Daddy and Bougie Dragon. Love it.
Yeah, well, and I feel uncomfortable. Anyway, what you all watching couldn't see is that while the video is playing for the start of the show, Jason is dancing up a storm, and I didn't want to jinx it, so I didn't say anything to him before it happened, but it happened. It was pretty good.
It's become our thing, John. It's our thing. It's okay. I'm burning off calories, and I'm trying to manifest a good body in 2021 amongst other things. So hey, any chance I can to burn those calories, I'm gonna do it. And why not do it on the Damage Report?
There you go. You know where you can see one of those dances? I believe that would be on the Damage Report's TikTok account. And you're probably saying, wait, the Damage Report is on TikTok? And my answer to you is, yeah, kind of, a little, sort of. We're getting started. Anyway, we got a plan. And I think there's a couple things. And so you know how to find that? I hope, because it's TikTok, so I don't know. But anyway, if you search on it, search for the Damage Report, you can search on it, right?
Yeah.
Or is it just swiping? I don't know.
Yeah, it's not like Tinder where you swipe left and right, John. You search Damage Report, boom, it takes you right to it. But I'm excited. Wait to watch. I mean, this is incredible. One, I'm on TikTok, cool. Two, I'm on the Damage Report's TikTok. Three, the Damage Report is getting with the times and has a TikTok. This is incredible.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I'm hoping that if we nail down the TikTok, then like in Q2 we can launch like a MySpace. Oh, we're gonna be so cutting edge. Anyway, but I'm very glad to have you here. Very glad to have all of you here. Thank you for joining us, regardless of what platform you're on. Wherever you are, you can probably do something equivalent to hitting the like button. That'd be cool. I'd like that. I'd even click that if it had a button. And you can share the stream to let people know that we're live. We've got a lot that we're gonna be talking about. And if you talk to us in the form of tweets, YouTube comments, Twitch comments, super chats, anything like that, we're gonna respond as we go along. But with that, why don't we jump into this thing, Jason?
Let's do it.
Okay. Today is the big day in Georgia, which means that last night was the big last night for Trump and Kelly Loeffler and David Perdue sort of remotely to rally and try to get Republicans enthusiastic about voting for them. So how are they gonna do that? Like especially Kelly Loeffler. She's an incredibly corrupt, robotic politician with absolutely no charisma and no role in government that actually suits her. So what's she gonna do? She is going to go along with whatever conspiracy theory Donald Trump and the Republicans want her to. So literally the first thing she says at the rally is this.
Hello, Georgia! Woo! Thank you, Georgia. I have an announcement, Georgia. On January 6th, I will object to the Electoral College vote. That's right. Thank you. We're gonna get this done. All right, Georgia, but I have a very important question for you. Are you ready to show America that Georgia's a red state? That's right, that's right.
Oh God, she's so. I have a question for you. Are you a red state? They said to point. I'm supposed to move my human body and let people know that I am a carbon-based life form. So that's her closing. That's her opening statement of her closing statement. Is like I know I'm trying to get reelected tomorrow. But what I'm gonna say to you is, I'm gonna pretend this loser didn't get beat in an election 2 months ago. That is her big closing statement.
In a state that openly came out for his opponent and had no problem saying that publicly. Also, does she not look like a prettier Ann Coulter? Every time I see her, I think like, that's Ann Coulter 20 years ago. Good on her. Trump was right there. She's openly been in support of Trump, of course. And I mean, it was an opportunity for her to align herself yet again with someone who she feels is like rightfully the winner of the election. But here's the thing though, and it goes back to these baseless claims that are just that baseless. He did not win. And for her to take that moment, John, and what could have been a moment for her, regardless of where we fall on politically leaning, it could have been a moment for her to really speak to the people and have them rally for her. She's like, let me accept whatever. Let me I don't know, kiss the posterior of this man yet again. I thought it was a missed opportunity, honestly, for her to do something good for herself beyond everything that she's been doing for herself in this campaign. But 3 million, as of today, as we've gone to air, over 3 million people have showed up to the polls. I'm sure it's a little bit more depending on where you are in the country or as time goes on, but that's a huge outpouring of people who are here for this election. So it's gonna be crazy.
Yeah, it is. So what she would have you believe on the eve of the election is, I am going to do this unprecedented thing of like organizing with over a dozen other Republican senators to desperately try to overturn this thing, and it's almost certainly not going to work. So we're trying to reassure this pathetic man baby that we are willing to overthrow democracy on his behalf, whether it works or not. And for that, you should vote for me. And how this is supposed to go is, I have to do all this crazy stuff because the Dems rigged the election in Georgia 2 months ago, and they stole the election from Trump. For some reason, at the same time, they didn't give Ossoff and Warnock enough votes that they wouldn't have to go to the runoff. They decided, as part of our rigging, we will require a follow-up election. But you should definitely vote in that runoff, which conceivably they're not just gonna steal. If they stole it from Trump for some reason, they're not just gonna steal it from us. It doesn't make a ton of sense, and it's probably gonna hurt them a little bit in terms of turnout, convincing people to go out and vote in an election that you keep telling them up until the last minute was fundamentally fraudulent.
I would agree. It's crazy. And I'm pretty sure we're gonna talk about this, but just people hinting to what's gonna happen if Biden is sworn in on January 20th, and if Mike Pence opens up a letter and says, you know what, Biden is the winner. People are threatening civil war, anarchy. Yep. It's crazy, but it's also a little. I hate to say this, but it's a little entertaining, John, to keep watching this now, because it's the stupidity and the sheer asinine thought that Trump could. It's almost like, where do we go from here when all the Hail Marys that we've thrown or haven't landed anywhere, haven't been caught by anyone? It's like now people are just like, can we just move on? It's a new year. We have other business to take care of. Can we just get to that? Really, But yeah. I'm excited to see how this election turns out in Georgia, because it's major. This is like hinging on so many things that could be very beneficial or detrimental to how we move forward, going forward.
Totally. Yeah, I, like everyone, we're gonna be watching, just hoping that the vote goes the right way.
Yeah.
Anyone watching this, don't take for granted, like if you are there and you can vote, you definitely should, because Loeffler and Perdue are terrible candidates, terrible politicians. I'm going to go so far as to assume probably terrible people too.
Sure.
But it is still Georgia. There's still a lot of voter suppression, and there's a lot of conservatives in Georgia. And so it is possible for the Dems to win. It's also possible for the Republicans to win. It's possible that it could go 1-1, probably Warnock winning and Perdue. Any of those is possible, despite the fact that, as I said, Loeffler is just like, there's not a single person that's ever like watched her speak about politics and said, I want that person representing me. They might still vote for that person. In fact, I want to demonstrate it. So this Donald Trump is the most popular person for conservatives in the entire country, probably right up there with like Larry the Cable Guy or something like that. They love to hear him speak. They love to go to his rallies and they just want to hear him talk about whatever, toilets, big dumps, stuff like that. Here he is at the rally trying to get people hyped up about those candidates. And there's like a little bit of applause, but you be the judge.
Kelly Loeffler, David Perdue share your values. And you know that they share your values like nobody shares your values. I can tell you they share your values. They want.
Like, oh yeah, like as unenthused as the crowd is, the only person who's less enthusiastic is Donald Trump. Like, come on. Like, that was the trying to give a book report when you ain't read the book version of endorsing a candidate. Like, not even talking about their personal history and how that's supposed to be some sort of demonstration of their values, or citing votes that they've made, amendments that they've put forward, legislation that they've sponsored. Instead, it's just, they have the same values as you. Oh boy, howdy. They got those values. You got them, they got them. And they are like, they're similar.
But John, this is not surprising.
You don't even know where you are or who you're talking about.
Right, that's like saying, it's like him being in Denver, Colorado and saying, good morning, New Orleans. The thing about Don, my bad, look. How dare I? Is that over the last 4 years, that's always been his speeches. No context, no kind of nuance, no kind of impassioned idea, anything. It's just like, here we are going through the motions. They share your values. Point. We share their values. They have the same values, and that's it. And as someone who we speak to the masses daily, right, John? We understand that the audience and the people that we're speaking to need to be filled and engaged and educated in some way, shape, or form. And Trump just always fails continuously to do that. I don't understand for the life of me, and I've said this time and time again, why the people, maybe it's him being stubborn, I'm sure it is, but why the people that he employs to make sure that his public outings go off without a hitch, be it his appearance, how he looks, and also how he sounds, why haven't they gotten him together? Even in this last ditch effort, this is where he needs to be even more on point. This is where he needs to, like, I don't know, have like a Mariah Carey octave range and just come out and just smash it and kill it. But yet he doesn't do that. Maybe he's tired. Maybe he too needs a monster.
Yeah, and not just a regular one, a Java monster. Because when I have a monster, what I think is this needs dairy. No, I do like those though. They're good.
Well, hopefully you're not lactose intolerant, because we know how that goes. People in dairy.
Especially with a coffee drink. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, and by the way, he at one point he did his thing where he said, "I don't like rallying for other people. I rally for me." Like, dude, you're at a rally for other people right now. But anyway, that's what he's saying. There were some other things that I definitely want to get to, including that. Let's see. At one point during the rally, which again is supposedly for Kelly Loeffler and David Perdue, Trump sort of implied that he was not going to be president, but he caught it a little bit and tried to recover, as you'll see.
Nothing and no one will be able to stop them. These Senate seats are truly the last line of defense. Now, I must preface that by saying, because they'll say, he just conceded. No, I don't concede. So Kelly, if I might add, I think we're gonna win, in which case we'll be the last line of defense. It's called veto, 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 veto.
It's just, he added on the last veto in case he didn't get his strategy. So they're the last line of defense. I mean, I'm the last, screw her. I'm the last line of defense. Veto, veto, veto. So I guess he's not conceding, but come on, man. Like he gets it on some level. He's like an onion or a parfait. He has levels, but some of them, they know he's not gonna be president.
I love how you just equated Trump's mental state to a parfait. Bravo, bravo, John, bravo. But again, right, he has to, excuse me, wasn't COVID. I'm thoroughly looking forward to the day where we get that 60 minutes, Diane Sawyer, whoever gets to him first, interview about why he hasn't conceded, and also the actual concession to this, because it's gonna come sooner than later. Or I mean, it may not come at all. It may not come directly. It's like waiting for an apology you're never gonna get. But he for all intents and purposes, he is smart. I think Trump is a smart man in some way, shape, or form. He has some intelligence, John. So he has to know it's over. This is done. That dragging this out is not. I mean, I don't know how else to say it. As many times I've said it on the Damage Report and every place else, it's not happening, bro. It's like there's no. Trump's not gonna go on in front of Congress and open an envelope and be like, "Oh, wait, Trump's the winner." No, that's not what's gonna happen on January 6th.
Well, look, I agree with you in part that I do think he is at least like I don't think that he's intelligent, but I think he's sly to some extent. To be a con man like this, you have to have a combination of sort of no moral core, kind of a sociopathic belief that you're the only person that matters. But you also have to be able to read people a little bit and know what they want so that you can pretend to give it to them.
Sure.
What I disagree about is whether it's worth it to drag it out for something. Like he seems to think it's worth it for some reason. In fact, he went at length about how he's not going to surrender. We're just gonna play one section of him talking about how this thing is never, ever gonna be over.
And we will not break, we will not yield, we will never give in, we will never give up, we will never back down, we will never, ever surrender.
Evacuate? In our moment of triumph? I think you overestimate their chances.
I liked his accent better there. I think he should stick with it. It makes him sound intelligent, as you said. But no, he wants them to believe until he is he's extracted every bit of money out of them, every bit of clout out of them. Like to admit that he lost conceivably would be good for the country at large in terms of norms. It would allow him to maintain a little bit of dignity, but he doesn't value either of those things. And so he's going to choose whatever, more donations, Trump TV later, running again, allowing the grift to continue, being a martyr, whatever. Those are way more valuable to him than dignity, being a man, caring about democracy, whatever.
You're right, John. And what's gonna happen though is much like with everything in the news cycle, much like everything that we hear ad nauseum, there's a malaise that comes along with it, right? Also, life goes on. Biden's going to be sworn in. As we said, business will start to turn to, okay, what is this new administration going to do? How are they going to move forward? How are they going to proceed? And it's going to become like this radio sweeps of Trump saying, "I will not give up, I will not back down, Adrian." Like the whole Rocky thing, just like we are the champion. It's going to become this joke to where now it's going to fall on deaf ears. People are not going to care, and the longer you would think, as you said, John, someone who has the personality of Trump, that he would not want his legacy to be marred by this, right? He would not want the legacy of being the most powerful man in the world for 4 years. For normal humans, that's a huge accomplishment. No matter what happened in that 4 years, the fact that was who that you were able to be shrouded in that title, you would think he would step away and be like, fine, the past is the past, but this is my legacy. Let me go out and ride off into the sunset with some kind of, as you said, dignity versus this joke and this mockery of what somewhat of a decent legacy could be. That's what blows my mind as well.
Yeah, look, I get what you're saying, but your expectations for him are inherently flawed, and let me tell you why. It is because you are burdened by the fact that you are a caring, joyful person, Jason. You have a light inside of you. He doesn't.
It's a light.
He has a fractured bit of a dark crystal that was chipped off of some monolith to a dark god. That's what he has at his core, and he doesn't care about any of that stuff. Now, I agree that it's so sad and pathetic that one would think, why would you want this to be your legacy? But the only people who can see that it is sad and pathetic are people that he doesn't care about and they don't care about him. He has managed for a significant chunk of the country to have his epic failure and eat it too. He did lose, but they don't think of it as that. And so, like the best skill he has, if I can give him credit for one thing, it is convincing people to view his fundamental, pathetic, laughable weaknesses and failures as not being a big deal, or as in fact being signs of strength. I don't know how he does it. I don't know that I'll ever have to do it, and hopefully I won't have to. But he can convince them that no matter how bad he is, no matter how pathetic, no matter how embarrassing, if he's walking upstairs with toilet paper stuck to his foot, or he gets absolutely crushed in an election, no matter what it is, it's not pathetic to them.
And that is a skill, John. That is, maybe that's his God-given talent. Maybe that's that came up. That's part of the crystal that was shipped away. We'll call him Voldemort. He has a heart of Voldemort. He who shall not be mentioned.
Exactly. Anyway, there was a lot of weird stuff. We've got more on this. We're not gonna have as much as we could. he threatened Mike Pence, like sort of jokingly threatened Mike Pence to overturn the election tomorrow. He kept talking to Perdue. So he likes to talk to people in the crowd. Like he'll say something to Ivanka and then tell Ivanka to come up. So he kept talking to David Perdue. You idiot, David Perdue's not there. He's quarantining because he was exposed to COVID, because COVID's everywhere because of people like you and David Perdue. He didn't seem to know that. He had no idea who was there, who wasn't. But there was one thing that I want to focus on. Donald Trump at one point in this hours-long rally, the point of which was to say the Dems are stealing this election, went off on an odd tangent, and we're gonna try to dissect this together. Here's what he said.
How to run ours. The most unhappy person right now anywhere in the United States is Hillary Clinton, because she's asking the Democrat Party, why the hell didn't you do this for me? True. Why didn't you do it for me? Why the hell didn't you notice how quiet she's been? I shouldn't have said that, not Tonight Show. But you notice how quiet she's furious because she said, don't forget, I won Michigan by 10,000 votes. We did much better, as I said this time, much, much better. But I won Michigan from her by 10,000 votes. I won Wisconsin by a small, I mean, they could have done that one and not get caught. We caught them. We caught them.
Okay, so a few things here. And my main point is not that he's still obsessed with Hillary Clinton literally years later. Yes, that is pathetic. That's not the point, Jason. There's a couple of things here. So either of these should have woken up so many people in the crowd to the con that's going on. But the first one is, I'm in the middle of a multi-month campaign, me and every Republican, to convince you that the Democrats steal elections. They're ruthless. At one point, he said there's nothing they won't do to maintain power. And then he says, hey, remember the last election where like they easily could have stolen it? It was basically super close and they didn't. Ha, those goofs. So right. Which is it? Are they the Skeksis who steal power at every turn? Or as you're citing, in a situation where they easily could have, according to you, they didn't want to. But like, stop making rhetorical points and actually engage with the point you're making. Why didn't they? If they're the people you say they are, if Hillary is the criminal, corrupt person you say, they're literally chanting, lock her up. Why didn't they do this stuff? They're refusing to learn from, like you could have at least blocked out the whole thing, then you wouldn't have to learn. But you're exposing yourself to this thing that you say, that's curious. They didn't steal it. Why? Fill in some of the blanks, free your mind and learn a little bit about the world. They didn't steal the election because they don't steal elections. That's why. Occam's razor in a political environment.
Hillary was at home somewhere in a pantsuit saying that exact same thing. She was like, what? What is happening here? Like, really? All I was doing was at home, chilling, watching Bridgerton on Netflix, and you gotta drag me back into this Trump. Good job. No, but you're right, John. Again, it leans back on what our analysis of the mental acuity of 45. He's not all there. He's not all there. And they'll lock her up. He just likes to get a rise out of people. And I feel like it's the energy from the crowd is like Superman in the sun. It keeps him going. It gives him life. It gives him power, regardless of the BS that he's spewing. But it's a great. If you're going to make a point like that, at least make a point that circles back around to land in your favor versus, as you said, indirectly or more directly exposing the truth.
Yeah. By the way, I love the Superman reference. We're gonna see how many things we can reference in one show. Anyway, okay, so he's obsessed with Hillary. That's the first level, and it's sad. The second level, and maybe the most important, is that he is pointing out to his audience that the Dems don't steal elections, even when he says it would have been easy. But there is a third level, and the third level is in big, bright, shiny letters, projection. He can't imagine not stealing an election if there's a chance that you could. That's the whole thing he's saying is, hey, everybody in the crowd, I think everyone should steal elections. Now let's get back to how this was stolen from me. Like he's admitting that he thinks you should steal elections if you can get away with it in the midst of trying to steal an election that thankfully he hopefully won't be able to get away with. It is so like it's like stopping your like timeshare presentation to make a joke about how bad pyramid schemes are, and then going back to trying to sell them the timeshare or something. Why would you do? And it works. He can do it. Like there is no. It is a con that is so thick, so durable that you can point out and joke about the con mid-con to those you're conning, and no one in the crowd was like, "Oh, wait,
well, right,
I'm out of here." Nobody walked away. Nobody was done.
Right, exactly. That again, that I was also going to shade the people that are there chanting, lock her up. Though, I mean, what can we say about them? You know, like they're obviously. The truth is in the pudding. Like they're just as bad as he is, and to be proselytized that deeply into the belief of someone, it's believe it or not scary though, because just anyone with some kind of, I would say, common sense, that's just like the lowest, the foundation, the floor, would see and look at that and be like, that doesn't sound right. This isn't the move. But those people in the audience are so devoted to him, and it's just very indicative of how there is an absence of, back to common sense, of his base more times than not, or very consistently. And that in itself is alarming and scary, in addition to what is coming out of his mouth. That freaks me out more than what Trump is saying, because this is just business as usual. This is just you know, supersizing your order at McDonald's. It's like, okay, that's what we do. This is what he does, you know. But for the people that support him, and there's millions that do unequivocally, unwavering, and very passionately, blindly follow him. Those are the ones I'm scared of. Those are the ones I want to watch out for. Those are the ones I keep an eye on, because what does that say about them? You know, and again, them not.
I think you're right. Like he's going to be going away at least, you know, in terms of political position, but you know, considering his diet and not too much longer entirely. But they're going to be around, like the ever increasing percentage of Americans that are at the very least authoritarians, if not outright supporters of fascism. They're still there, and they're still going to be hungry for a politician who will deliver that for them. So I think you're 100% right there.
And John, them opening, and people openly on social media and in interviews, they're saying, if this doesn't go in the favor of the right or people who support Trump, violence, will enact violence. We don't care. Like, it's this, you know, gone are the days, I feel, of people being covert about the egregious things that they plan to enact when they don't get what they want. Now people are openly saying, we will hurt people, we will enact a civil war, if you will. That's someone said that, I think in Georgia on on the news. So you're right, like he's gonna go away, but this is just going to embolden and infuriate his base, who now feel like they have nothing to lose since we've lost everything. If they lose.
I think you're right. Okay, we're going to stop for a couple of minutes to respond to some comments and super chats. But heads up to Jesus, that next short little 9-second video, we're not gonna use that. The next video is gonna be the CNN one. But anyway, let's see what's going on in the audience. Okay, let's see. We've got some super chats, including the first out the gate from Zane. GA, here we go. Come on, Warnock and Ossoff for the win. I hope so. So. Matthias wished me a happy birthday. Thank you.
Oh, it's your birthday?
Thank you. No, it's not. It's not. It never is until the one day it is, and I guarantee that when it is my birthday, no one's gonna wish me happy birthday. Right. But anyway, Gabby says love to Jason and John. Thank you. Roger Harris says Melon and Dragon reporting on TDR on your left. I like that. There's a reference for you. Sea Turtle Dragon says Jason should be hired as a regular co-host. I love him even more than Franny, and I'm a huge Fran fan. Jason, I love you.
Oh, back at you.
There you go. Matt C says I want to see more of John in Antarctica. So my True North co-star Shavala Madlina, we have talked about True South, about someday trying to go to the Antarctica. we will see. Pandemic's a bad time for it, especially because, hey, COVID's now gotten to Antarctica.
And it's evolving to a superhuman strain, so who knows?
Yeah. Thankfully, though, if you ship the vaccine down there, you can store it outside. M. de Chambeau says, I would like to be Le Dragon Francois, the French dragon. I'll allow it. That's yours. Let's see. Okay, portions redacted, says John. Today's pre-show has no chat replay. I didn't change any setting. I don't know why I would be doing that. But apparently I'm learning. I don't understand anything tech-wise. The Centaur says, is it just me or was the never give up, never surrender Trump message straight out of Galaxy Quest TV President Much? It was, and we're not going to allow it, okay? By Grabthar's hammer, our democracy will be avenged. Anyway, Dubious Droid says, can we get a Skek Tech impression? I love the Dark Crystal, especially the show, and it killed me when Netflix canceled it after one season. Netflix is like the worst, by the way. They do not let shows breathe, but I don't remember which one Skek Tech is, sorry. Anyway, Cheesy Nickname says, Mimi the Magic Dragon here, back in the hospital for a relapse of pneumonia, thankfully not COVID. Bought my hubby and all 4 sons Dragon Squad shirts for Christmas. Love you so much, John, and all your co-hosts.
Oh,
that includes you, Jason.
Thank you. Speedy recovery.
Yeah, hope you get better soon. Nobody wants to be in the hospital, especially at this point. Aaron Hernandez says, Mitch McConnell makes a good Chamberlain from the Skeksis. Trump is too stupid to be a Skeksis. That's pretty much true. Trump is basically one of those furry balls that just screams and has teeth. That's basically what he is. Over on Twitch, Shorty resubscribed with Prime. Thank you for that. Platinum Yeti gifted 5 subs. Thank you, Platinum Yeti. Getting a jump start on next year's New Year's Eve gift giveaway there. Demsock Dragon gifted a tier 1 sub too. Thank you for that. Am says, longtime TYT watcher, but came over to Twitch to feel slightly less guilty about that Bezos money. TYT has kept me sane for the last year. Love you guys. Wherever you are, thank you for watching. We do appreciate it. Abid Knight responded to Trump's never gonna surrender thing by saying, isn't that what Rick Astley said? Basically.
No. Never gonna give you up, never gonna break you down, never gonna say goodbye and hurt you. Rick Astley was like Michael McDonald. He was like this really skinny guy that had like this really deep, like masculine, like voice. I loved it.
I think that's why. There's 2 reasons I think the Rick rolling worked. One is it's the juxtaposition of his appearance and his voice, and the other is the perfect like 80s like swingy dancing girl like spinning on a brick wall sort of video. Like it's just so happy in 80s.
It was. And the only 80s song I cannot handle anymore is that damn song from Dirty Dancing, The Time of Your Life, that with Jennifer Warner and the guy. I hate that song. God, I hate that song. Ugh, it's the worst.
But so you're saying that when you listen to it, you don't have the time of your life?
No, it's like I just imagine being like attacked by the most venomous snakes in the world and dying from like bleeding internally from their like toxic venom. That's how bad I hate that song. I hate that song. I know, and they're probably in the chat like, "Wow, okay."
There's some people who love the 80s.
I love the 80s, just not that song.
OMG, I love this take, Jason. What? A lot of people are saying, tell us how you really feel. I will say, I like the song, but I can't tell if I actually like the song or if the crush that I have and will always have for Jennifer Grey is so powerful that just because it was in the movie with her, that's why I like the song. But one way or the other, I like it. So whatever.
Pre-nose job Jen or post-nose job Jen? Because she's kind of unrecognizable after the nose job.
Yeah, she does look different. Although I liked her in an episode of House that she was on. Look, she can do whatever she wants. There's obviously a lot of pressure and everything. I mean, for me, it's specifically like her in that movie. It was just there's something. And this is a weird tangent on a political news show. But anyway, she was great and I love the movie. Anyway, also wanted to say thank you to some of our recent YouTube members, including Clover Mystic, Janelephant, and Chris Leggett, who joined at tier 2. So enjoy the top 10 list. Anxious Dragon and Dragon First Class, thank you for becoming a YouTube member. And with that, let's do a little bit more politics, and then we'll talk about like Footloose or something.
Wonderful.
Anyway, there you go. Okay. Donald Trump continued right up until the GA primaries, spreading his conspiracy theories. But what do the people at the rally actually think? Well, despite the fact that it was a major health hazard because virtually no one at the rally was wearing a mask, CNN did manage to talk to some of the attendees, and here's what they had to say.
Are Trump and his supporters just sore losers?
No, we haven't lost.
So he'll be president for 2 more weeks?
No, he will be president till 2024.
You know, obviously Trump is saying that the election was stolen from him here in Georgia. He doesn't trust the Republican election officials here. Does that cause a problem or an issue for trust in this week's Senate election?
Yes, I think it has for several people.
Yeah.
People have been demoralized and have actually told me that they do not want to vote because they feel like their vote isn't going to count.
And what do you say to people when they say?
I tell them, well, if the Democrats are going to steal the election, we're not going to. We're going to do the right thing, and we're going to vote.
Will you accept Joe Biden as president?
No, he'll never be my president.
Okay, but you accept that he's going to be inaugurated.
No, I don't.
I mean, how could that change at this point?
Well, it could be a civil war. You never know.
You don't actually want a civil war, do you?
I don't. Show us the voting machines. Show us the ballots. Show us that this was a fair election, or we'll never accept another vote again, ever.
Crazy.
Don.
Crazy.
I mean, and cut to commercial.
Yeah, I've never felt closer to Don Lemon in that moment.
He saw us, John. Don Lemon saw us.
Okay, what did you think about that? I mean, there's several different things going on in that video, but what did you think?
I mean, I'm not surprised. Of course, well, CNN. First of all, it's television, so CNN knows exactly who to ask those questions to. We want to get one of a different type of every Trump's base to get the answer to this. But it's I mean, it's not surprising, John. It's not surprising. That's how they feel. They're entitled to how they feel. It's the emotional response that they have. Well, I'll never accept it. It's like them. It's like they're going through the stages of death, right? Where they refuse to accept it, grief. There will come a time where they'll enter the 5th stage, in which will be acceptance. But it's not surprising, and it's only going to become more. People are gonna. It's only going to be. There's only going to be more of this as we go into. I think once Biden is inaugurated, it'll be even more copious because now people are just like, "What do you mean?" It's a reality. It'll be a reality for them, and those visceral responses will be even more intense because now it's real. And so how do they combat that? How do they reconcile that? They don't. The denial will be exponentially more than it is now, I think.
I think it will be. I think that a lot of them are going to have that like shock to the system, like the things I believed turned out not to be true, but especially like the things they kept saying would happen didn't turn out to be true. But I do think what you're going to have is like, think about all the QAnon people. Trump is supposed to team up with like JFK Jr. and Captain America to kill all the pedophiles or something. Well, conceivably, he would need to be president to do that. Like, we're gonna ignore the fact that he's been president for 4 years and still hasn't done it. They apparently don't have a problem with that. So I'm going to predict that QAnon, which basically at this point just means online right wingers, are going to believe that Joe Biden is president, sure, but the plot was always to get Trump out of the presidency. And after biding his time and gaining his strength, he's gonna take it back and wipe out Biden and all of the that's what it's gonna be. That he's going to come back triumphantly and destroy all of them. Some of them might, combine it with the QAnon stuff. Others will they'll just go to, oh, he'll run again in 4 years, but Biden in the meantime isn't legitimate. So, oh, and by the way, that's a fun get out of jail free card because Biden's not going to be legitimate. So nothing counts, nothing sticks, nothing is legitimate that happens over the next 4 years, despite the fact that he won, overwhelmingly in the Electoral College, according to Trump. He won 7 million plus popular votes. But no, they're not going to accept it, and they're going to pretend like something will happen, whatever. Insert a conspiracy theory that is going to overturn this thing.
Which is a really good plot for a great movie, but in real life, it's really stupid. That's like Trump's gonna go and become like some vampire and just be, I don't know, go into hiding, and then all is like in the like an underworld. He's like, it's his time to reign. He's gonna be reawoken by the blood of his base, and they're just going. And that's not what's gonna happen. I had a conversation with someone a couple weeks ago about will Trump run in 2024, right? I forget. Yeah, like what year is it? I don't think he will. I don't think he will. One, I think in 2024, how old will Trump be? Almost 80 years old. He'll be what, 70? He's 74 now, right?
77 or 78, something like that. Yeah.
Right. And if I just don't. I mean, of course, this is all the speculation. I could be wrong, but I don't think that he's going to come back in 4 years and try to do this all over again. I think he's going to go in a different direction. Like much more. What most people have been saying is about having Trump TV or having some kind of network, which would make sense for him to return to television. That would make sense because I think he did his best work in television of his life. But you're right though about them. Okay, once we get Biden in office, he doesn't exist. The next 4 years is going to be a blur. They're going to like they never happened. It's going to be like they don't see him the way Mariah Carey says that about J-Lo. I don't know her. I don't see her. Which just also leans on the delusion of his base. If they didn't call him out, as you pointed out earlier, during that speech where he talked about rigging elections, delusional. They're delusional again if they think that Biden's not going to do any good in the next 4 years, or he's not going to be the president. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's again just delusion after delusion after delusion that just keeps on. It's never ending.
That is definitely true. That could be the tagline to American politics of 2021. Okay, let's go on to a little bit more for Georgia. Obviously, we've got the voting, which is going on as we're filming this. In the week leading up to the big Georgia runoffs, let's check in with the ad strategies of the different candidates. So here's a fun one from Kelly Loeffler. According to the Facebook ad library, on December 29th, the Loeffler campaign spent between $3,000 and $3,500 on an ad called "Too Radical, Too Corrupt," which seems a bit like projection, and dropped between $40,000 and $45,000 on a second, more aggressive counterpart titled "Beyond Radical Raphael," which uses some of the same footage, but with his skin darkened. Raphael Warnock, who she's running against. Now, is that a fair thing to say about the ad? Well, let's show the two ads right next to each other. Here we go. Yeah, I would say that they darkened his skin a little bit.
Absolutely,
just a little.
Which, okay, go ahead, John. I have thoughts on this.
Well, we're gonna show a couple more shots. So here's another one. You can barely make out the features of his face. They've darkened the shot so much. And then we've got this other one, which again, I mean, look, how many times does this have to happen? They do it every time.
This is, do you remember the O.J. Simpson picture that was on the cover of Time magazine? And how they took his mugshot and they darkened it because the mystique about black men is that we are savage, we are animals, we are hunters, we're radical, right? As Loeffler has been saying in this I would say it's this subconscious or maybe a covert way of trying to paint the picture of how she views or how she wants people to view men of color. That's what I took from that. Also, is this not indirect blackface, but reverse in a way to where it's just like this weird thing of how they view black people, right? Yeah. So absolutely, that picture was dark, and all of them. I mean, there's no way. And then as I said, to slap it with radical is just further driving home the fact or the message she wants to send of how she wants those people to view a black man. That's what I take from it. I could be wrong, but I don't think I am.
Yeah, you can't look at those shots. I'm looking. You can't look at those and not get what they're doing there.
What's the reason for it?
Yeah, they want to be able to cut from a shot of look at this really dark skinned scary black man, and then look at this lily white woman with her blonde hair. That's what they want. They want to they want to scare people in Georgia. This is what they have to say during the ad. Raphael Warnock is a radical liberal who was educated by Marxists. He's beyond radical. He was trained by Marxists, and it ends with, he's not just radical, he's dangerous.
See, okay, what, John?
No, he's a pastor. He's literally a pastor. He's one of historic. He's one of your people. Yeah. He's one of the priests that just talks about God and stuff, and is really big on the Bible. That's who this person is. Okay, right. He's not going to run into Congress with a battle axe, lopping off heads. He's one of the priestly people. It's just so insane. Like Amy Coney Barrett, because she is Christian, you can't criticize anything she says because she's too close to God. This guy's employed by God, but they say he's dangerous.
Right, and whoever wrote that copy for those commercials, I gotta give them snaps for being clever enough to know what words are going to resonate with people watching, because those ads are masterfully done by people. There's focus groups. There's all these people in rooms that create those ads to really permeate into the psyche of the people that are watching, right? Mm-hmm. So dark-skinned black man, radical, ooh, he's dangerous. For someone who's not the sharpest Ginzu sword in the bunch, they're gonna be like, oh, you're right. You know, and as you like the scary black man, right? Candyman, whoever, whatever foe or enemy that was under their bed growing up, that's who Warnock is going to be for them. So they were smart for that, but it's a little racist. I'm gonna say a little racist. It's very racist if you ask me. And then people are gonna probably come for me and be like, oh, there's Jason playing the black card. It is what it is. Visually, the proof's in the pudding.
Yeah, no, they already played the blacker card by making him darker than he was. They're the ones messing with color there, and we know why they're doing it.
Exactly.
By the way, she's not the only one. On this election day, can I remind you of something that we talked about a while back? That's on the David Perdue election side. So he's running against John Ossoff. John Ossoff, if you didn't know, is Jewish. You may not have known that, but you know who did know that? David Perdue's campaign. And I know that because they decided to do this ad. This is a little blast from the past for you. Breaking: Schumer spending $3 million in Georgia for John Ossoff. Democrats are trying to buy Georgia. So throwing him up there with Chuck Schumer. Now, just looking at, let's go ahead to the picture. If you're looking at this picture, you may not get what the issue is. But what you don't realize is that they have decided to artificially make John Ossoff's nose bigger in that. So let's go to this next photo and you'll see the direct comparison.
Right.
They made his nose bigger. And here's the thing. They tried to pretend that this was like just a graphical glitch, a little issue. And you know, if you do Photoshop, you might think, well, you know, they were like selecting his head and they selected too much so they got the background. But that's not the case because the background around his nose is black. They added more nose to the nose, not a black border around the nose. They added nose to a Jewish candidate, then threw him up with another Jewish candidate and said that they're trying to buy the state. Look, if you don't get this or what they're playing into, my sweet summer child, you need to wake up to what America is, because whether it's Loeffler and the candidate's black, so they're trying to scare people about black candidates. This guy happens to be Jewish, so they're trying to play in anti-Semitic stereotypes. But on both sides of this race, it is absolutely dirty. Dirty, and for them to deny, I mean, they're never gonna cop to it, right? They're never gonna cop to it, but no.
It's, I mean, again, visually, John, those are all incredibly salient points that you make about Photoshop, the editing, and and what that would take to have that picture be rendered that way. They absolutely intentionally made it that way, right? And that's because going back to the people who were voting and the people they want to appeal to, that's how they view those people. That's how they, that's what they think of those people. They think that all people that are Jewish or Israeli or of that faith look that way, right? They have these noses, or they have, or any kind of stereotype that they've grown up with or that they bought into. They believe that to be true. I mean, there's no need for look, the noses are similar, but they added at least half a nose or half a nose point. I'm looking at it right now to his nose, purposely, intentionally, right? So, and like going back to Loeffler's picture, for what purpose did they need to darken the photo? We know who the person was in the photo. What what would be the reasoning for that? There's no reason to make those changes at all. No legitimate reason, right? It's all intentional, it's all purposeful, and it's all wrong. And so, but again, in 2021 and everything we saw in 2020, John, are you shocked? Guys watching at home, are you shocked? No.
No, we do have to point it out. And
Right.
whether the individual person that they had do this thinks of themselves as a racist or whatever, whether Kelly Loeffler thinks or Perdue think of themselves as racist or anti-Semitic, they clearly believe that the path to getting elected is appealing to voters that are gonna like this stuff. They're gonna be scared by a darker skinned black candidate. They're gonna like the idea of this Jewish candidate coming in and buying things up in a scheme. Like whether they personally believe it, they think that that is what their base is. And so that's what they're giving them.
And they think that's what their base is based on probably, John, what their base has told them. Conversations or data collected or things that they found out from their base that would lead them to that. Because people, I would imagine that when you have a campaign, your goal is to win, right? And so you hire people, you enact all these different tools for that purpose. And some of those tools are to gather data to give the people what they want. Case in point, Trump's rally, giving the people what they want. That base wants to hear that rhetoric. So when you have these types of egregious and disgusting pictures, it's probably coming from a source that says, hey, this is how we really feel about those things. This is how we really feel about those people. This is how we view those people and how they move through the world, I would imagine.
Yeah, I think so. And we were gonna do it as a full clip. We don't have time because we got other stuff that I wanna move on to, but I did wanna let you know a bit of good news for Kelly Loeffler, on the eve of her trying to get reelected. She's a billionaire now. She's already incredibly wealthy, the wealthiest senator. Her husband and her together were worth like over $800 million. Well, you know how like all those like billionaires were making tons of money during the pandemic? He was one of them. And so they are now worth more than $1 billion. That's nice for her. That's very nice for her. Good news for such a good person. I'm sure they earned it. Anyway, okay, before we move on to other stuff, we're gonna read a few of your comments and super chats and all of that. Nixie Marudi sent a super chat saying, yay, Jason is here. Heart you so much. John, you always make me think of a teddy bear. Thank you for all the sanity you provide me with daily. I've never heard that about myself, but thank you. Carson Rodkey said, yes, John, come join the leftist TikTok ranks. There's a lot of conservatives that just make actual fools of themselves and it's fun to laugh at them. Yeah, I'm gonna. It's just like, I'm just barely hanging on to Twitter because it's like the most toxic invention humankind has ever come up with.
True.
And Instagram, which I used to like, but then they messed with the timeline and everything. It's like, oh, I gotta do another thing, but it would be fun. And I wanna get into it. I've heard that there's board game TikTokers, so.
John, why don't you do like
I think they're called?
Why don't you do a TikTok dance? No? Like to Doja
I feel
Cat.
like Don Lemon. Crazy.
Really?
I'll dance with a dog, maybe, but no, that's literally the last thing I'll be doing on TikTok. Anyway, let's see. Jimmy says, ugly drunkling dragon. It helps being drunk when you listen to Trump. I think probably there is quite a bit of alcohol flowing through the veins of that crowd, I would imagine. There's a lot of requests for dancing. Yeah, we'll see. Okay, sorry. Our dances will only be released to our exclusive tier 4 subscribers. It doesn't exist. Pick says, is Jason wearing pink pants? But hey, at least he's wearing pants.
Hey, they're red.
Those look salmon to me.
They're red. They're red.
Well, that's the first butt shot we've had on the show in a while.
Look, when you get Jason on the damage report, you don't know what you're gonna get, okay? You guys, you're welcome. You're welcome.
You definitely don't. Alan Smith says, John, don't you dare insult Fizzgig by comparing him to Trump. I think that's the Harry Ball thing on, that sounds unfortunate, on Dark Crystal, actually. How could they have canceled it? It was so good.
I never watched it.
Oh, it's so good. Like the first episode is really weird. They hit you with a lot of world building and there's a lot of characters. But after a couple of episodes, it's just so good. One of the actresses from Game of Thrones who plays Missandei, she's in it as a voice actress and her character is awesome. Anyway, Okay, Days Falling Down says, yes, Jason, Dirty Dancing is an objectively creepy film. I don't know how they managed to hide it so well. Maybe, it was awesome.
No, Dirty Dancing's a great movie. Just that the only part, the part where that song really kicks is when Patrick Swayze is doing the two-step and doom. It's like cool. Yeah, like it makes you feel like you want to get out of your seat and just like I'm right there with you, Pat. Yeah. Or when Baby's like, cause she forgets the lift. Yeah. Other than that, no.
That was is that during their first big performance?
Yeah, when they're doing like the salsa and she's like, yeah, because she missed the lift. She was afraid, but no one puts Baby in.
She can't do anything wrong.
No.
And I like the song. It's perfect. It's the whole theme of not just the movie, but that whole sort of movie. Anyway, Chris the Old Dragon says, Jason, I agree 100% that song is horrible. So I'm gonna ban Chris the Old Dragon. Hold on one second.
No, you're banned. Hey, freedom of speech, John.
Hold on, I'm running a tracing program to track down your Twitch account as well. Anyway,
okay, well, that's your question, John. What's your favorite 80s song? If you had to pick one, what's your favorite 80s song?
I don't even know. I'm not great at knowing when songs came out. I don't know. I would have to look into it. I don't really listen to music that much. I don't have music foremost in my mind, but what about you?
The only 80s song that matters is True from Spandau Ballet. Come from you guys. You know where to find me on Twitter. I know.
Bart agrees.
Yeah.
What song?
Hey, Bart. Bart's awesome. It's it goes da 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 da. I know this much is true.
Da, da, da,
Bart. There you go.
Love you, Jason.
Love you too. It's a great show. I mean, it's a great song and show.
Okay, I don't know that song, but I will listen to it. There have been a couple of suggestions in the YouTube and Twitch chat that I do agree. Take On Me is a really good song.
Yes.
And there was also, Africa.
Yeah,
that's a pretty good song.
Yeah. All of those, I co-signed all of those. Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, let's see. Franz Meyer says, CNN's Breonna Keller quoted Billy Madison to describe Trump's speeches. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that can be considered a rational thought. That's true of a lot of people these days. Karine Bernard says, sorry, John and everyone, but I am with Jason on that one. I hate the song, but understand the fascination stems from the special moment in the movie. Can I claim Thundra Dragon? Love you guys. You can, although I disagree with you there. And a Mega Level just says, Jason's skincare routine, that is all. We had a moment. What?
I thank you for recognizing my skincare routine because the regimen is annoying and disgusting, but hey, you suffer for beauty. So thank you very much. And also it's really good lighting in here.
That's true. We had a moment where Jason had some new pictures taken and he sent them to us. And I was like, wait, how is it a newer picture, but he's younger in it? Anyway, that is not happening to me. I think we've got sort of a Dorian Gray situation with us where like you get older, but I look twice as old as I should.
Okay, one, you don't look a day over 27, John. And we have yet to see you without. Since I've known you, he's like, really, really.
You don't want to see me without facial hair.
I have never seen you without. Okay, yeah, I've never seen you without facial hair. Never.
No, because here's the thing. When I lose my facial hair, I look like I'm 16, but I'm still going to have aged a bunch. So I'm going to look like the weirdest 16-year-old ever.
Oh yeah.
Anyway. Someone asked if I have a black eye. No, I don't have a black eye. Thank you for pointing out, by the way, that I apparently look that old and tired. Wonderful. Anyway, you're banned too. I'm just gonna ban everybody. So Bart put this into the Twitch section. I agree with you, Jason. You're not alone regarding Time of My Life from Dirty Dancing. That song is like fingernails on a chalkboard. What a Feeling from the movie Flashdance is better. That is a good song. Love you, Jason, and congratulations, John, on winning the Tony. God damn it. God damn it.
John, how are you holding the Tony?
It's because whatever you Photoshop into a picture, you actually won. I learned that from Donald Trump. So I won a Tony. Anyway, it was for my off Broadway one-man performance of Labyrinth, done exclusively with no set or costumes. Anyway, okay, with that, why don't we jump into our last story or two? We're gonna see what we can get through.
Cool.
Someone said speech. Anyway. Okay. Well, obviously here in the US, the situation with the pandemic is getting worse on a daily basis. We are not alone in that. We've been talking a little bit about what's been going on in the UK. Not long ago, about a week and a half ago, parts of London had an increased lockdown that is now spreading throughout England. As new figures put the UK on course to exceed 100,000 COVID-related deaths before the end of the month, the Prime Minister said once again that people must stay at home with exercise limited to once a day. All non-essential shops were told to close for Monday night. The lockdown will last for at least 7 weeks, with measures to be reviewed during half-term week. Any relaxation would not come into effect before February 22nd. And so that is obviously amazing. I mean, having a full national lockdown being resumed, like here in the US, we have some limited lockdowns, like in LA. But if they hit that milestone, like that is obviously that's just a fraction of ours. But they're a much smaller country with a much smaller population. That is absolutely devastating.
Yeah, well, I'm not surprised by this. Two, if it works, then I think it's a glaring example of what should happen here. Because I mean, I'm in South Florida, and day over day, more COVID deaths, more COVID diagnosis. It's not getting any better. And even though we've been hearing about the PPE and what we need to do and how to protect ourselves, clearly it's not working, right? It's not working. And I know, and it's terrible for us to think that we have to regress, to take 2 steps back, to take a small step forward. But if that's what it's going to take to stop death and to get things back in order, that's what we have to do. Because beyond, John, look, there's a vaccine coming. People are having issues with that. They don't know about side effects. They don't know what, they don't know what's gonna transpire when people start, in large amounts taking this vaccine. However, in addition to the danger of COVID, the effects that COVID has brought along in regards to the economy and in regards to people's mental health, it's just there's so many different things that have come from this that need to be dealt with as well. So it's like, we have to get back to the source of all these things, and that is stopping this virus, right? So good for them for saying, hey, this is what we're gonna do. 7 weeks will go by like this because 2020 went by like that, and hopefully the results that they're looking for will come to fruition.
Yeah, hopefully. I want to give people a little bit more information about how quickly things are changing. So this is an amazing example of it. Just a day after urging millions of pupils to return to the classroom, Boris Johnson announced all schools would switch to remote learning until the February half term. So that seems like the sort of thing that happens when you give a speech and then you have a meeting and you realize that things are going in exactly the wrong direction, that they're gonna be switching in that way. Just yesterday, we had in England 26,626 COVID patients. That is like 1/4 to 1/5 of what we have in the US, but again, much smaller population. That's up 30% from just a week earlier. Over 80,000 positive tests at the very end of December, with a case rate 3 times higher than the start of December. And this, I want to show you this tweet because it is absolutely amazing how fast the cases per million going up in England. It is almost a straight line up through December there.
Well, right, and also just to piggyback off of that, what's now coming down and being reported in the media and in the news is this new strain of COVID, right? This new like resistant strain, this super strain, whatever they're calling it. Everyone they put so much on it, but that much like when COVID first hit, started abroad, spread like wildfire, came to our shores, and here we are. Could that be, and not to scare anyone watching, but could that be the future in regards to this new strain of COVID? I mean, it's just how we have to take the precautions to protect ourselves from what's currently at our doorstep into what possibly is on the way over as well. So, look, it's John, like again, day over day, just thousands and thousands and thousands, and that's just people diagnosed. And then you go on social media, you read the articles of people that have passed away. Just okay, look, stripping it down to celebrity, if you will. Think about all the celebrities we've lost, or people that have been in that are public figures that have died from COVID. And you're like, what? Really? Like, okay, it's unreal. It's unreal. And I think people are, because we were hit so incredibly fast and hard and quick with this new normal and how to deal with it and how it became the new normal, that we're now have kind of, I don't know, I don't want to say lax, we're just again, there's a malaise about COVID now. We're just like, well, this is it. This is how things go. So we don't really think about what it is the way we thought about what it was when it first arrived. So I think we need to get back to that and really be like, okay, this is still something serious and something that we really need to be vigilant on.
We need to be especially vigilant until we get access to the vaccine, which hopefully is still the answer. And until proven otherwise, responsible people are saying that the vaccine will still protect against this new, more easily spread variant of COVID. It is more contagious, which means you need to be more careful. But if we can get the vaccine rolled out, hopefully that'll help. They're doing a little bit better in the UK than we are here in the US. I'm assuming things have to get better in the US considering all the flubs in the first couple of weeks. But once Biden gets into office, I assume the Defense Production Act will be invoked. There will be more federal oversight of the spread of the vaccine throughout the country. So hopefully within a few months of that, we'll all have access to it. But along the way, we're still in a great deal of danger. A lot of people are gonna get sick. A lot of people are gonna die. And so we have to be on our guard.
Absolutely, 100%. And you know, all the anti-maskers who feel like there's really no excuse. There's really no excuse. And I just still look, John. What, in 30 days we would have been a year from the time we started talking about this here on TYT, right? And just it's so mind blowing, and just I don't have the word to express how unreal. That's all I can say is how unreal the last year has been and how life has changed so drastically. Never did I think in my life I would be experiencing this ever.
No, although I've given you credit a couple of times during the pandemic when we had that, it was on the Young Turks and you were very worried. I would say the worst prediction I've ever had was that no, it's not gonna be that bad. I thought it would be bad. And I didn't think that it wouldn't be bad because it's not a terrible disease. I thought it wouldn't be this bad because I assumed, I mean, sure, it's Trump and it's the Republicans, but they don't want tons of people to die. You know, if not for the human toll, that would be bad for them, right? And I was very wrong and you were very right. I mean, this is worse than I think either of us assumed could be the worst, but yeah, we're almost at that 1 year anniversary. We're gonna have you as the co-host on that anniversary. We're gonna look back on this year.
John, you know, the only reason why I had made that comment during that one time on the main show is because growing up I read Stephen King's The Stand, and that book was so like the way Stephen King was able to depict a virus, a super virus that would wipe out 99% of humanity, and the way it started in an isolated place and then it escaped. It just harkened back to that. And and in your defense, the way your thought process isn't off. Most normal people would think like, yeah, no, I mean this is unreal. This sounds crazy, like, you know. So, and a lot of people thought that, but here we are. So again, that I'm not looking forward to the vaccine only because I don't like needles. I would like a nasal injection or a pill. I'm definitely afraid of needles, but however, I will take one. I will take two because you gotta take two. I'll take two for the team.
Yeah, regardless of how bad a needle is, a ventilator's worse. So if we're gonna take the vaccine, there you go. Anyway, Jason, as always, it is a delight to have you on. Thank you so much. Are you still on hiatus?
No, Jason Unleashed, guys, head on over to my Instagram page, Jason Carter Official. Jason Unleashed is back January 11th. John, I'm sending you over a date in the coming days for you to be on later this month.
Awesome.
And some really cool guests. And again, I'm always a pleasure to be here on the Damage Report with you guys and TYT Army for life. Take care.
Thank you so much. Stay safe.
Bye.
Okay, everyone, I'm gonna read a few more of your comments. Before we do that though, I did want to let you know what's coming up after the show today on Twitch, twitch.tv/TYT. You guessed it, news that gets you wet, deep dive with Jordan and Ryan Grimm. Jordan Ewell is gonna be there for another episode of Deep Dive, so you're definitely gonna wanna be there. That is not the official tagline. I'm putting it on there to make him uncomfortable. So anyway, that's gonna be coming up in 21 minutes at twitch.tv/TYT, so definitely check that out. They have the coolest guests. Now, before we end our show, I did want to read a few more comments. So let's see. Okay, Tiger says, our wait in Fulton County worth it. Hope you got to check the art out on Instagram. Context the Evil Empire. Got to have Jason's enthusiasm today. Oh, so we had talked earlier during the pre-show. I will check that out on Instagram once the show is done. Thank you. And thank you for waiting in line. I mean, we talked about how they were screwing over the voters in Fulton County, and apparently it is bad. But an hour wait isn't as bad as some areas of the country. The voter suppression can lead to 4 or 8 hour waits. So hopefully a lot of people are waiting. Okay, Winter Soldier said, someone said to make Hillary AG so she could be the one to lock Trump up. Is Woo Dragon taken? I don't think it is, so you can have it. Of course, that would be funny and sort of ironic, but no, I don't want Hillary Clinton in the government at all. So anyway, Delta Strike says, sometimes I think the Trump crowd are there to be entertained, but I've met some of them and they've bought everything that come out of his mouth. Yeah, look, I guess, to some extent, one of the bubbles I have is that I don't often talk to people who are like true believers for Trump, but they're out there. Jay says, happy B-Day, John. We actually have the same birthday. And I claim Cage Dragon because I'm a weeb who can't make D&D characters without magic dark vision. Wow, thank you, Jay. Sorry, Cage Dragon, I apologize. Okay, the Bitchkin Chicken Dragon says, did you get the book we sent? Dragons Love Tacos, our favorite. I did actually. It's actually out in the studio, but thank you. I did see that. Oh, I also wanted to say this I have handy. So Alex J of Tacoma, I did get your Christmas card. Thank you so much. That's very sweet of you. I apologize that I got it after our big revealing all the things that people had sent in, but thank you so much for that. That was very nice of you. Okay, Sandor the Burninator says, love your show and the nerd fandom you bring here each and every day. Also, I'm not a dragon, but my name is based off of Trogdor and Bernie. I'll allow it. Thank you. And let's see, finally, Vegan Lay says, John, doesn't matter how old you are or you do or don't look, you're hot. Thank you, Vegan Lay. And I mostly read that to make other members of the audience uncomfortable. Thank you. Oh, Angelus Dreamer Dragon Knight for the best 80s song. This is pretty good. The Stand, Don't Fear the Reaper. That's pretty good. And it also happens to be an amazing SNL sketch. I'm gonna have to think about that. Bart says, best song from the 80s, Dare to Be Stupid by Weird Al Yankovic. This is a song that is timeless and still relevant. I actually listened to a lot of Weird Al growing up. Sundariel says, best 80s song. This is over on Twitch. Power of Love by Huey Lewis and the News. So that's a good song. And it's in, I think, Back to the Future. And I think it's also in Psycho, right? Power of Love? Or that was a different Huey Lewis song. Which one was that? Anyway, it's really good in Back to the Future.
That was hip to be square in American Psycho, John.
Hip to be square, yeah, that was a dark scene. Anyway, my wife and I have watched a lot of movies during the pandemic. There was a period where we watched all the Back to the Future ones, and she had only seen the first one before. What a good series. And so I'm gonna say the thing that I always say that you always hate. They need to reboot it or make another one. And sure, maybe it'll be bad, although you never know. But if it's bad, you know what you can do? You can just watch the old ones. So they should try. They should try. The Kurd Burglar says, can we get more Bart in TDR? We'll see. Let's see. Twisted Dragon says, I love Dirty Dancing. Patrick Swayze rocked. Love seeing Jason. Would like to see him on more often. Hopefully Trump is taken out in handcuffs on the 20th. Well, apparently he's gonna be in Scotland, they say. Over on Twitter, and I apologize, I don't always get to tweets because it's at the bottom of the document, but thank you for everybody who tweets at hashtag TDR Live. Chris Stewart says on there, I hate the song The Time of My Life, hear me out. The song in the movie, just about all the songs in the movie are wrong for the time period the movie is set in, and it makes me mad. That being said, it doesn't anger me enough to stop watching the movie obsessively. I guess that could be true. Carlton says, Chocolate Dragon checking in. John, shave the beard. The world needs to see what's hiding underneath. No, you do not. Song of the 80s out of many, Jump by Van Halen. Bart agrees. Jennifer Grey can do no wrong. How about her unwarranted and unnecessary? No. So first of all, I don't even like talking about any cosmetic stuff because it's each person's individual choice, and especially the pressure must be incredible on actresses in Hollywood. So let's see. Gabby says there are Vulcans on Star Trek that have a greater range of emotions than Kelly Loeffler. That is definitely true. Really more Borg. She's more machine than man. Anyway, thank you everybody for watching the show and continuing to join us on this. Everybody who joined us for the pre-show, by the way, we almost cracked 10,000 people just on our little hangout session before the show. So thank you very much for that. Everybody who chatted along, was part of such this awesome growing community. Anybody who supported the channel, really do appreciate that. By the way, shout out to those who are hearing but not seeing me right now on the podcast. Really do appreciate the podcast listeners. As I often like to say, that was how I consumed the Young Turks for years before I worked here. So if you haven't already, thank you for checking out the podcast, and feel free to rate and review it, because that apparently helps it out in some way. Anyway, 15 minutes until Deep Dive with Jordan Uhl, so definitely stick around on Twitch for that. Until next time though, stay safe out there, stay sane out there, and I'll see you soon.